My parents refused $55,000 to save my son, but spent $250,000 on my sister's wedding. I was on the phone, begging my parents to help save my son's life. They told me no, because they needed the money for my sister's wedding. They chose a party over their grandson's health. And that was the last time we ever spoke, until a call I got 10 years later threatened to destroy the peace I had fought so hard to build. To understand how we got to that point, you have to know who the players are. There's me, my son Liam, who is my entire world. My late wife, Sarah, who we lost during childbirth. And then there are my parents and my sister, the golden child. The main tension was a poison that had been seeping into our family for decades. Parental favoritism. I was the child who was never quite good enough. She was the one who could do no wrong. I always thought it was just the way things were. An unfortunate family dynamic. I never imagined it would one day become a matter of life and death. I thought being grandparents might finally change them. I had no idea that the worst betrayal of my life was just around the corner. The foundation of my family was cracked long before it shattered. My relationship with my parents was never warm. It was transactional, and the terms were always tilted in my sister's favor. Psychologists know that this kind of favoritism is incredibly common and can have serious long-term effects on a child's sense of self-worth. For the unfavored child, you spend your life wondering, what's wrong with me? I know. Because I lived it. My sister was the golden child. I was just the one who was supposed to be tough and independent. I knew they looked down on me, but some moments made it brutally clear. When my sister turned 16, she got a brand new car with a giant red bow. A year later, it was my turn. I had good grades and a part-time job, but I got a lecture on building character. I worked 2 jobs, took the bus in the rain, and bought a rust bucket that broke down constantly. My sister would laugh, and my parents would smile like my struggle was some noble lesson, while her comfort was a gift she deserved. It wasn't just about money. When my first serious relationship ended, I was a wreck. My mom told me to pull myself together. A few months later, my sister had a minor fight with her boyfriend, and my parents treated it like a 5-alarm fire, showering her with gifts and dinners. The message was clear. Her feelings were emergencies. Mine were inconveniences. You learn quickly not to seek emotional support from people who see you as a burden. This dynamic poisons the sibling relationship. 2, we were raised in 2 different families under the same roof. She was cherished, I was tolerated. Then everything changed when my son, Liam, was born. His mother, my incredible wife Sarah, passed away during childbirth. Suddenly, it was just Liam and me against the world. Holding him, all that old hurt vanished. He was my purpose. All I wanted was to give him the unconditional love I'd always craved. He was my priority, and I would do anything to protect him. I just never thought I'd have to protect him from my own parents. My earthquake hit when Liam was 4, a terrifying medical diagnosis, a critical, urgent need for a specialized surgery that insurance wouldn't fully cover. I was a single dad, living paycheck to paycheck. I sold my car, maxed out my credit cards, and worked until I was a ghost of myself. I was still $55,000 short. That's when I did the one thing I swore I'd never do. I called my parents for help. I swallowed every last ounce of my pride because this wasn't about me. It was about Liam. My voice was trembling when my mom answered. "Mom," I said, "I need your help." "It's Liam." I laid it all out, the diagnosis, the surgery, the cost. I was begging. There was a long, cold silence. Not the silence of a mother processing awful news, but the silence of calculation. "Oh, honey," she finally said, her voice full of dismissive pity. "That just sounds so stressful. But we just can't right now. My dad got on the extension. Your sister just finalized her wedding plans." He said, his voice firm. "It's a big affair. We promised we'd help her with it. All our extra funds are tied up in that. A wedding, a party." They were spending $250,000 on my sister's wedding. I felt a weird, cold calm. They couldn't spare $55,000 for their grandson's critical surgery, but they were spending over 4 times that on a party. "This is your grandson," I whispered. "He needs surgery. We know, and it's just terrible timing." My mom said, as if it were a scheduling conflict, "But we made a promise to your sister. We can't let her down." My dad's voice turned to stone. "Don't be so dramatic. You're resourceful. You'll figure it out. You always do." And that was it. You'll figure it out. The story of my life, a story they wrote for me. They weren't just saying no. They were telling me that my child's life was my problem. But my sister's party was their priority. It felt like they were holding up two things, a $250,000 wedding and my son's health, and they chose the party. I don't remember hanging up. The choice to cut them out of my life wasn't made in a fit of rage. It was a survival instinct, and I knew, in that moment, what I had to do next. The aftermath wasn't an explosion. It was the quiet, deliberate click of a door closing for good. I blocked their numbers. I sent back birthday cards. Unopened, marked return to sender. Going no contact is almost always a last resort. The only thing left to protect yourself from being hurt again. Completely alone, I made one more call to Sarah's parents. My in-laws, they didn't have the cash, but they saw their grandson's life was on the line. The next day, they took out a second mortgage on their home of 40 years. They put their own future on the line. No questions asked. Their kindness filled the hole my own blood relatives had just gouged open. Piece by piece, we made it. Liam got his surgery. The 10 years that followed were a revelation. Without their judgment, without the constant reminders that I was asterisk less asterisk, I thrived. More importantly, Liam thrived. Our little apartment became a sanctuary, free of toxicity and conditional love. I got a better job and paid back every penny to my in-laws. They became the real grandparents Liam knew, the people who showed up. He was growing up without ever once having to wonder if he was loved enough. People ask if I missed my parents. No, I missed the asterisk idea asterisk of them. The grief for the parents I wished I had happened long before I cut off the ones I actually did. Then one Tuesday afternoon, 10 years later, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. It was my mother. We made a terrible mistake. She said, her voice rambling, "We miss our grandson. Can we please just see him?" A few days later, I got on the phone with both of them. They were sorry, they had regrets. They wanted to be a family again. When they finished, they waited for me to absolve them. "No," I said, my voice calm and steady. "I hear you, but your apology doesn't fix anything. Forgiveness is not on the table." I kept going. "This isn't about a grudge. It's about consequences. You chose a party over my son's health. That isn't something you make right. That's permanent. While you were planning a party, my late wife's parents were signing away their financial security to save the grandson you abandoned. You're asking to be let back into a world you were fine watching crumble. My son is happy, healthy, and secure. My job is to keep him that way. Forgiving you would mean telling him that what you did was, on some level, okay. It wasn't, and it never will be." I ended the call and I felt relief. Pure, absolute relief. The final ghost was gone. We're taught that family is everything, but sometimes that's a trap. You are allowed to walk away from people who hurt you, even if you share a last name. Choosing to go no contact isn't about rejection. It's an act of self-preservation. My decision to protect my son from my parents was the ultimate embrace of family, of the new, small, perfect family I had with him. So I have to ask you, was I justified in cutting them out forever? Or should I have found a way to forgive for my son's sake? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.